Hello, everyone. My name is Gerardo Herrera. This is Video Talk 1, and I'm going to be discussing from the article Teacher Knows Best how data implementation, how I use data implementation, how my district uses it, and what types of programs we have that implement data. So I was looking at the different types of people, the types of people that use data differently. And I classified myself as a scorekeeper, since we emphasize in my state and in my district the STAR exam. We have to prepare our students for the state exam every single year. It's a big part of our curriculum. So I considered myself a scorekeeper because I use data to prepare my kids for the state exam. I'm a traditionalist in that I do look at grades to determine how my students are progressing. And I'm also a growth seeker. I use data to differentiate my instruction. For example, if I notice that something is working better than something else, I'll adjust myself to that. What types of systems do we use in my district or in my school to implement data? Well, first we have a teacher evaluation system. It's called McCrell evaluation system. And so every year we get observed, and they determine whether we're progressing properly or not, we need help in certain ways or not. And so that is the evaluation system we use. They base themselves on data, in that we have to give our students exams. We take three different groups. One of them has to be a specialty group, for example, a special ed group, and we test all three groups and we determine progress. So we test them at the beginning of the year and we test them at the end of the year, and we determine based on that if they're progressing properly or not. So that's used also as part of our evaluation. So our goal, of course, is for them to do better the second time they take the test than the first time. We also give benchmarks every few weeks, and the benchmarks are so we can determine whether or not the students are learning the material and if they're ready for the state exam. I'm also part of the curriculum writing team. And so in the curriculum writing team, when we're writing curriculum, we look at data extensively. So we base ourselves on previous state exam data. We look at how many questions have been asked from a certain, for example, I teach U.S. history. And so we focus on how many questions have been asked about a certain time, a certain period in history, or which person has been tested the most, or which areas have been tested the most. And so, of course, the purpose of that is so that we can focus our curriculum and our teaching toward what is actually going to help the student pass the test. We have a digital grade book that we use. That was implemented back in 2009 when I started teaching. Prior to that, teachers had to have a manual grade book. And so we've moved more toward the digital over the years. Now we key in our grades. At the beginning, they had us do both, an actual hardcover or an actual grade book, and then we had to do the online grade book. We have a digital curriculum. Everything is on OneDrive for teachers. They go on to OneDrive, and they are able to get all their information from there. Me personally, I use this program called Schoology, which helps me to organize my classes. And then in a few years, our state is going to move from paper exams, state exams, to online STAR exams. The state exam is called the STAR. And so we will be giving the state exam online. We did have an initiative a few years back where our district and several districts in the Valley made some deals with Apple, and our district was allowed to purchase a certain number of iPads for the students. This program did not work. It wasn't implemented as well by the teachers, and so the one thing we learned from that initiative was that teachers need to buy into the program. Without teacher buy-in, it can't get done. Even if the students are excited about it, the teachers don't use it in the classroom, and it's not going to work. So those are just some of the things that we use. The biggest problem, though, when it comes to data is time. we are so busy all the time with so many things that it's difficult for us to find time to disaggregate data, and to just get down and just figure things out like that. And so we have, for example, we have a every single conference that I have, we have a meeting, and our meetings are meant for us to be able to sit down and look at our data and everything like that. But sometimes our meetings are canceled, or that we have other things that we need to cover, and so we don't focus on data as much as we should. Every year, at least twice a year, we have a a specialist that comes in. She's the data disaggregation specialist for our district, and she comes in and she discusses with us the entire day. We take an entire day to just desegregate data from the beginning to the end. It is extremely tiring. It is extremely time consuming. It is very, very specific, but it helps us to understand what we need to do to get better as teachers and to help our students. I'm going to answer the three questions that were posed for this video talk. What does this mean in my setting? It basically means that, and like I've been emphasizing this whole time, we need to focus on data even more and emphasize data as much as possible. How could you take a leadership role? We have a leader called a CLL, Collaborative Learning Leader. She is in charge of directing our data disaggregation meetings. And so that is basically what we have. We also have CLFs, which are in charge of different departments in our school. And so as far as leadership, I could apply for those positions so that I could help become a CLL perhaps, or CLF. What culture would you need to build to be successful? We need teacher buy-in. We need people to accept that data is important and that without it we cannot succeed. So everything has to be data driven. Our district is extremely data driven. But again, we need teacher buy-in, and also we need to let parents know what's going on. We need to let parents know what kind of data. We need to teach them what data is and how it's being used in the classroom, and how they can use it at home as well. So that was video talk number 1. My name is Gerardo Herrera. Thank you.